If you've ever spent any time working with young people, then you know that it's always helpful if you can do anything and everything possible for the sake of consistency. In other words, so that those who are involved know exactly what they can count on, what is supposed to take place, and kind of what the system is, so to speak. That's probably true of each of us as is built into our human nature. As a cheer coach, there are a few things that perhaps will assist you throughout the season, just some practical helps that may help you as you organize and as you communicate and as you move along so that everyone knows what to expect and what to count on. The first thing that we encourage you would be that once you begin your practices with your cheer squad, go ahead and early on develop your lineup. In other words, develop the formation that your girls will be in for their cheers and chants throughout the season. Now this could vary perhaps with any dance routines that you teach, but for the most part this would be your set lineup. The reason for this is that the girls will always know where they're supposed to go, where their spot is, and so that avoids any chaos or confusion, any questions about where they're supposed to be. This will also help as you practice, as you are cheering for games and so forth. This consistency will streamline things and save time in the planning and preparation process. Another thing to consider has to do perhaps with your pom-poms. When you receive your team's or your squad's uniforms, every cheerleader will have a set of pom-poms. Now these pom-poms will come and they're going to be compressed due to shipping purposes, and so one thing that you'll want to do is you'll want to take the time to fluff these pom-poms to kind of give them the shape and the life that they need for cheering. Now you can do this by taking the time and fluffing them all yourself. I really wouldn't advise that. You can spread it among all the coaches on your squad, or perhaps at the next practice, once you've received your equipment and your supplies, you can pass these out to some of the parents in attendance and ask them to fluff them while practice is taking place. We encourage you to take the time and write each girl's name on the handle of the pom-pom. The reason for this is that most young people want to use what belongs to them. And while this may sound silly, they feel more at home and they're more comfortable with that. And so we encourage you to do that. We also encourage you to hang on to the pom-poms. In other words, every practice, every game, hand them out, and then when that practice or game is finished, take them back up. This will ensure that the pom-poms are on location when they're needed for what they're needed for. You may want to get a gym bag or a box or some type of container that you can use to transport these back and forth, but I do believe it'll be helpful if you keep up with these. And then at the end of the season, you can distribute them to the girls so they can take them home. Another thing to make you aware of is that each young lady will also get a megaphone. And these megaphones can be used for cheering. As you teach the different cheers and chants, these can be a lot of fun. A couple of things to keep you mindful of. You may want to get a marker and write each young lady's name on a megaphone. Now these megaphones are not only used for cheering, but they're also used to put the different stars that each girl earns based on their spirit, their attitude, their performance at games and at practice. The stars that they earn are placed on these. Now, just like the pom-poms, we encourage you to hand these out at each practice, at each game, and then take them back up upon completion. And then when the season is over, you can hand these out for these girls to take home with them. A last thing that may or may not be helpful, but something for you to think about, is simply this. During the course of the season, you're going to have several games. We encourage you to designate young ladies as game day captains. Now this is an honor for each of the young ladies, and this is the day that they get to lead. They get to be the one to call the next cheer or the next chant. And so we encourage you to bestow this honor on every young lady throughout the course of the season. Now if you happen to have more young ladies in your squad than there are games on the schedule, you'll probably need to double up. In other words, you'll have co-captains for some of your games, and that'll be fine. Just share the opportunities for leadership, share the responsibilities between the young ladies. This is a great way to encourage leadership development, to allow each young lady to recognize that they are a vital part of the squad. And it's a great way to teach and to model our motto, if you will, and that is that every child is a winner. These different ideas or tidbits could be helpful. I encourage you to look for as many different avenues or methods that you can as a coach, as a leader of young people, to teach consistency, to model things that they can count on. In a world today that we live in where there are so many things that are unstable, the more that we can offer for the sake of consistency, for the sake of preventing confusion, then I believe the better off that we will be.